All right, there we go. September 21st. Can't believe that, but here it is. I'm looking at my calendar and it's like I'm blocked up now through November. It's like the end of this year is I'm going to snap my fingers and we're going to be into 2024. Pretty
Yeah.
pretty crazy stuff, but you guys better get ready. Our year end procedure is coming. I want everybody to be prepared for that this year. We don't want to be looking back at 2023 and having any regrets.
Regrets are a killer, that's for sure.
Oh yeah, we don't want to have any of those. We probably already have enough as it is. But a quick little update on the leads program. We are really close to having our launch ready to go. So that is really exciting. And also, I know a lot of you guys want to do the leads program, but you're having problems and struggling with the communication part of it. Like, what do you do with the leads? Right? Because this is an inherent problem in almost every business. We all want things, but yet we might not be ready for them. Like, everybody wants traffic. This has been like with me since day one. When I first started doing SEO and traffic, I was mainly doing that. Well, not mainly, I was 100% doing that for big companies. And these big companies, they had their own marketing teams. I wasn't there to do marketing. I was simply there to drive traffic, and they were ready for it. It was like all I could do was drive traffic, and I didn't have to worry about it. Their teams did everything else. I never even knew what they did. I just knew they were happy to have me doing what I was doing. It wasn't until I started actually with Craig Deswalt's group really opened my eyes to this, because up to that point, I mean, that was all I was focused on, was just driving traffic. I was driving traffic to companies that had sales departments, and they were ready for it. You know, I'd send them the traffic, and it was like bringing the bird to the cat. Yeah. And life was great. Life was simple for me at that point. But, you know, I had a conversation with Craig, and he said, hey, he goes, I got this great group of people. They're all, you know, they all need SEO, and it would be a great fit to have you in the group. So I thought, hey, that sounds like a perfect match. And he brought me in, put me on stage, and I started talking about SEO to his group, and everybody loved it. I mean, people were coming up to me after the talk and wanting me to do their SEO for them. And I would ask them, you know, I had just a handful of qualifying questions before I would enter into an SEO relationship with somebody. And it was like a total mind blower to me that nobody was answering the questions properly. So I couldn't take them on. And I was like, holy shit. Here's all these people that want me to do work for them, and I can't. It's like, I'm not going to take on a customer if I can't help them. So, and, everybody's like, well, what were the questions? What were you asking them? And, my first question is, who's your most profitable customer? And they didn't know. And I'm like, okay, well, what do you, I mean, I was just asking them. They had no idea. They had no idea who their customer was. Most everybody was saying, oh, well, I help everybody. And I'm like, well, what is it that you provide? And I'm getting all these pie in the sky answers. And I'm like, that's not tangible stuff. People do not pay for non-tangible stuff. And this leads me to what I want to talk about today. Not only for the leads, my initial point, I'll come back to this in a minute. My initial point with that was everybody wants traffic, right? And the new lead program is going to be no different. Everybody's going to want it, but then the question of what do you do with it? So that's been a big problem. Most people don't know how to do cold email. They don't know how to entice someone that they have not talked to. In this So you have two components there. There's the mechanical thing of how do you send out cold email and not get in trouble. And then there's the marketing side of how do you address people that have never heard of you before. And those two things, we have a solution for that now. We've partnered with a company that they're going to be selling our leads into a bunch of the type of businesses that I started out with, the ones that are just thirsty for leads. They already have teams, they can close the leads, no problem. But the company that we partnered with, they're an interim company. They're another lead gen company that's getting leads for these other people. And they handle all the follow-up, all the technical stuff. So they do the cold delivery of the email. They're working with AI now. They've got people that are prompting their AI to come up with the right cold emails that convert. So if anybody wants the leads, but you don't know how to deal with them and you want somebody to take that over, I can do that referral for you to these guys that are going to be doing that. They're putting a whole system together and they can take the leads. You just tell them, you know, here's the leads I want. You can use our system to purchase the leads. And then you can have their system handle the follow-up to those leads. Because like I said, they've got guys that know how to prompt AI and they're using, has anybody heard of the bank system where you've got the 4 different personalities? Well, what they're doing is they're looking at the niche and they're somehow using AI to figure out, okay, people that buy this product, here's the 4 different personalities. And then they're doing an additional data overlay that tells them what each of the leads, which one they are, if they're a B, an A, an N, or a K. And then they're using AI to write the copy based on the personality of the person, which is freaking phenomenal. I mean, that's like knowing who your customer is specifically. It's doing the segmentation for you, which is absolutely phenomenal. I cannot wait to get that kind of power behind our leads. That is going to be awesome for any of you like Jim. If you're selling the stuff to your customers, these guys would be able to do that work for you. So it'll give you like a hands-off solution for all of your customers to give them traffic and leads and follow through. So really cool. Yeah, Randy, go ahead.
So is that something that when you said we can get it through you, I guess I didn't understand. Is that like an affiliate thing with you, or what are you saying this is going, how are we going to have access to that?
Yeah, I don't know the exact answer to you for that yet. We're working out the details with the other company. But since day one, the talks and the negotiations have been, you guys have this, I've got that. Let's kind of mend them together. And they just came back to me just yesterday with their solution of what they've come up with, which what I was kind of describing. I was really excited about it.
Yeah,
that is awesome. But basically, you'll be using our system to generate the leads, and then it will be going through their system to do the follow-up. So the accounts, I think we're going to have them connected through API, so it'll be almost seamless. You could either buy the leads through us or you can go through them. I think you'll probably pay more for the leads going through them because they're going to be marking it up. But if you want to get the leads directly through us, through our software, and then have them just do the follow-up for you, they're going to add that as like an add-on layer service.
mm-hmm.
Just like in our software, we're going to have like a checkbox that if you want to use SendGrid, you can just check the SendGrid box and then set up that integration with SendGrid and do it on your own.
Yeah.
Hopefully at some point we'll have a checkbox for their service, and then you can just check it and have them do it for you.
Yeah, that sounds so much better from my perspective.
Yeah.
Playing around and it's nice to learn what you're teaching us and get the feedback from you. But, like for me, I'd rather be teaching and coaching and speaking rather than trying. And if the funnel is there and the leads are there and I don't have to do anything but take it on after it comes. I mean, that for me, that's gold.
Yeah, yeah. And for me as well,
Yeah,
because I don't want to be in the business of doing done for you stuff.
yeah,
I just don't want to work that hard. I want to build software and go play on my boat, right?
yeah. And like most of us, I want to do exactly what I want to do and what I love to do, and not mess with the details.
I totally love sharing the information that I know. Like I love helping people get their stuff right. But quite often they turn around and they want me to just do it for them. And it's like, oh no, no, no. That's a whole different animal. That's like, I don't want to tangle with that tiger.
But if to do it for you portion of it is automated, which
Yeah.
you're saying is everything needs to be automated. So if if it's done for you and it's automated and all we have to do is get out of the way, then that's the way for us to go.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And that kind of spins me back to where I left off. I said I'll come back to this in a minute. It's the point of where I was headed with that is the biggest point of failure, I think. And I say the biggest. I don't know if it's the biggest, but it's a big one. Is people underestimating what it's going to take to sell your products. Like you think you're just going to say, "Oh, my stuff is great." And they're going to buy it. And they're not. I can assure you. The only person that is going to buy your shit if you tell them it's great is your friends and your family. That's it. That line is drawn in the sand and you ain't crossing it. I can just guarantee it. It's just not going to fly. And Randy, when I saw your email, I was like, the first thing it said was, "I hope this message finds you well." I'm like, oh my God.
And when I saw you highlight it, I had already decided what the answer was before you sent it to me. So I immediately went and took that and reprompted, but I used Bard to reprompt it because I felt so bad about screwing up GPT.
Well, it wasn't just that. That was just like a big red flag of I used ChatGPT to write this.
Yeah.
But you don't want that. You do not want to come across as being like everyone else.
Yeah.
The whole purpose of a big idea is to make you unique, make you the different one. And if you use ChatGPT and you let it write that kind of crap for you, you are going to be just bundled into everyone else and you're going to get thrown in the trash.
But did the second one look any better?
No.
Okay. So that's why I need do it for you services.
It was better,
but not good enough.
but what I'm going to tell you right here is what's going to make the difference.
Okay, I'm listening.
You've heard this before. It's a little acronym called WSGAT.
WSGAT.
WSGAT. Do you remember that acronym?
I do, but I don't remember what the heck it means. But I'm writing.
It's WSGAT. What is so good about that? You guys need to WSGAT the living shit out of your stuff.
Hold it, you're talking too fast.
What is so good about that is the acronym for WSGAT.
Got it.
And
I heard shit, but I didn't hear after before that.
What is so good about that is WSGAT. And whenever you make a statement, whenever you tell somebody what you've got, you need to WSGAT the shit out of it.
Okay.
You need to keep saying what's so good about that till there's literally nothing left in the tank. And if you're line iteming them, that was a tough one to say, line iteming them, you might have 10 WSGATs in a row. You might say, hey, my thing is a silver ball. Okay, what's so good about that?
But that's not overwhelming. I mean,
well, here's the process. You what's so good about the silver ball? Well, it's shiny, it'll grab attention. Okay, that's the first line item. What's so good about that? And then you put the second line item, and then what's so good about that? What's so good about that? And literally, I want you to do that till you got nothing left.
Okay.
Just burn the tank dry. And then look at your line item list and say, okay, what of these is going to be really meaningful to my ideal customer and make them have to have this? And you're probably going to throw 9 out of 10 of them out the window, which that's your question about, isn't that overwhelming? Yes, it would be. So don't do it. You're doing the exercise for yourself solely to figure out what is really important about this that's going to be meaningful to my prospect, that's going to make them have to have it. Like you say, okay, Craig's going to be on my stage speaking and he's great and he's awesome and he's a rock star. Well, okay, what's so good about that? And then line item the shit out of that.
Got it. Okay.
Till you literally have nothing left. And now you've got your bullet point.
Got it.
Craig's going to be on because boom. And they're going to go, wow, I got to see that guy.
So let me ask you a quick question. If you're hosting an event and you have, let's say, 4 fantabulous guest speakers, you're
That's
saying
not
take
good enough.
each, huh?
That's not good enough, is what I'm telling you.
Okay, so each one of those you would whiz-gat each one of those, and now you have 4 actual. You got to see this because of these 4 things.
Yes.
Okay.
Because you're looking at, remember, features and benefits. I've said this many times. You want to stray away from focusing on features. The difference between a feature and a benefit, a feature is what it is and nobody cares. The benefit is what it's doing for them. What does it do? That's what they're going to buy. That's the thing that's meaningful for them.
See, so in my head, and I see where I went big wrong. In my head, because I know Craig and I know James and I know blah blah blah. In my head, I'm figuring out filling in the blanks for the other people because I'm saying I know what they bring to the table, but I'm not telling them.
That's correct. And
Okay.
unless you figure out how to transfer information out of your head to the other person without speaking or writing, you're not going to win that game.
Got it.
So you really, really have to get focused on your communication, the what's in it for them. Again, features is what it is, which nobody cares. Nobody buys based on features.
Yeah.
They all buy based on benefit. It's what does it do for me? Why is it meaningful to me? Why can't I live without it? If you're not going there, what's happening is you're underestimating what it's going to take to make a sale. And that's a really bad place to go wrong in business.
John, I think it was really, really good points. And I agree with everything. I got one follow-on question on there. When I've got something that's so very new, and people in general like to categorize, collate, and say, oh, they see something and say, oh, you're like this, or oh, that you're like that. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
You've got something that I think it's hard to believe, right? If I just say, hey, I've got the cure for cancer or whatever, you know what I mean? If I have something that's seriously game changing, how do I, and it will address a very particular pain point. I say, look, you're beating your head against the wall, can't find people. I have a better, faster, cheaper way to get candidates. But I don't know that the open rate is, even though if you talk to any of these people, they're tripping over themselves to get it, but the open rates are not as high from an email. I think, is it unbelievable?
If it's email, like if your emails are not getting opened, that's purely down to your subject line. And the subject line it could be it's unbelievable. It could be they've heard it before. If you're saying the same thing as everyone else in your market, they're blind to you. They see it as, okay, this is the same thing I saw for the last 10 days. And I wasn't interested 10 days ago. You need to figure out what's the thing that's going to make them interested. What's the thing that's going to separate you? Again, it's back to communication. If you're not figuring out what is important to the person that you're trying to target, and not only what's important, but why is it important? You need to follow the trail to the real core emotion. It's the emotion that's going to trigger them to move. It doesn't matter if it's a man or a woman, we're all emotional. We all care about what we care about, and it generally is ourselves. It's what you have. And if you've got something that is, it's a similar to something else, you need to kind of separate yourself from the herd. And that's where a big idea, the whole big idea lesson, where you're saying a promise. The promise is the big thing, and that's the part that's generally unbelievable. When you say somebody can have something and they don't already have it, if they could have had it, they probably would, right? So they think they can't.
Exactly.
So when you say you can have this, whatever it is, they already have a preconceived belief that they can't, or they'd already have it. And they've probably tried other things that didn't work, and those things are going to look and seem very similar to yours if you're just stating the same promise as everyone else.
What if I focus in on, we know that there's emotion around this and frustration, and maybe I thought about starting out with a subject line matter that why you're wasting money on job boards or something like that, or how Indeed is screwing you.
You could try that. There's all kinds of different headlines that get attention. Some of them are fear, some of them are mistake, some of them are eye-opening, like, here's the reason why you failed. Because that might get their attention, like, oh, I wonder what I did wrong. Because they still want the thing, right? The promise doesn't necessarily change. They still want the thing. It's just the heart is what wants. The heart is where all desire lives. When you make a promise, you're making a promise to the heart. The heart wants it. The heart falls in love with it. And the heart's like a little kid. It doesn't know right or wrong. It just wants what it wants, and it wants it now. It's the head that steps in the way. The head is the conscious mind, like the parent, and the job of the parents to protect the child at all costs. So the head comes in, and this is where logic and reason have to come in after the promise, because the promise has no logic or reason. All the promise is seducing the heart. But then you have to come in and convince the head. And that's the part of the big idea that we call the unique mechanism. That's the thing that you have that no one else has that delivers the result. That's what convinces the head, oh, well, maybe this is different. Maybe this is real. We should try this. But otherwise, the head is going to say no. The head is the conscious mind. It's just going to say, no, I don't want to put the heart in jeopardy. My job is to protect the heart. I've heard this before. I think it's bullshit. No, we're stopping the game right here. That's where you're going to get an objection. Every objection is based on a belief. Everyone has these beliefs, and like I said, if there's something that they want and they don't have it, there's a reason they don't have it. And it's probably because they've tried something before, or maybe they haven't even tried anything yet. Maybe they just think, well, that won't work for me. Like, they might think, oh, there's no way my wife's going to let me get away with that.
In my case, it's that they simply don't. I mean, they all their alternatives and what they have as options in the space suck and haven't been working, and they think, oh, I'm just like them, and they've had false promises before from other those sort of players.
Well, those false promises reinforce their beliefs.
Yeah.
So if you have, the bigger the belief, the more you're going to have to do to unravel that. But the belief thing was, I don't know if it was Benjamin Franklin that discovered that, but he came up with a solution that reverses beliefs. And it's basically, it will overcome almost any objection. And I've used that many, many times, this formula. It's like, if you have a belief You make a claim, the formula is claim, proof, benefit. You make a claim contrary to the belief. It's exact opposite of whatever the belief is.
Mhm.
And then you immediately follow it up with 2 proof points. It's really important that the proof points are not just you stating it. It cannot be opinion. It has to be fact. It has to be like third-party verification. It has to come from an authoritative source. And so anyway, you do the claim contrary to the belief, and then you follow it up with the 2 proof points. And with what the 2 proof points does is it turns it into a fact, because when you first say it, it's just your opinion. And that's exactly how it's going to be taken. But then you immediately switch it to a fact. So now it's not you saying it. You're not there to be argumentative. You're just the bearer of the bad news.
Right.
And then you immediately, after that, you immediately attach it to the benefit, which the benefit is the desired outcome that they want anyway. So what you did, you just smashed the belief. You destroyed the belief. You refocused on what they want. Now they think they can have it. And now you're going in the right direction. You need to figure out what all those beliefs are, every objection that's going to get in the way of you in a sale, and you crush them one after another. And this is what your copy should be doing. This is what your sales process, your webinar, your presentation, whatever you want to call it. It's your lead from a cold prospect to asking for an order, your offer. You need to, during that path, you need to crush every potential objection before you get to the offer. Otherwise, you're going to get a very low conversion on the offer. And it's the same thing if you think about this in an email. An email is an offer. And the only place where you get to address any objection is the subject line. So I would focus on the biggest subject line and I'd try and crush it right there, because the offer is open the email, right? You're trying to get them to take an action, which an action is an offer. Think about that like as a micro step of it's a sale. You're asking them to do something. You know, the only difference is you're not asking for money yet, but you're still asking them to do something. So all rules apply. And it's like micro steps toward what you want. I equate this to dating in many, many ways. It's like, you know, ultimately you don't go on a date just because you want to go on a date, right? People don't want to just go on a date. They want something more. They either want a relationship, they want sex, they want marriage. They don't just want the date, right? The date's just a stepping stone to get them where they want.
Free dinner.
Yeah. So you have to look at it as micro commitments. You can't just go in and ask for the marriage. Like, you know, you don't meet a woman and ask for a marriage proposal on the first date, or you get a very high rejection rate. You know, if you ask 1 million women, if you want to marry me on the first round, maybe 1 in 1 million, but I guarantee you it's going to be crazy shit you don't want. It's not your ideal customer, I can assure you, right? It was too easy. So the idea of taking it from a cold prospect or a woman you don't know, you're trying to advance to the next step. So it's going to be a small commitment. You know, instead of asking her to dinner and say, hey, you know, I'll pick you up at your place at 8. That's a big commitment. She's got to decide first if she wants to get in your car. She has to decide, does she want you to know where she lives? She's got to decide, does she want to be stuck with you until you bring her home? She's got a lot of stuff to commit to there in that one thing. That's too much.
Yeah.
So you'll get a very high no ratio. But if you say, hey, you know, I would love to get to know you better. How about we meet at Starbucks tomorrow for coffee at noon? Almost all of them are going to say yes to that. What do they have to lose? It's a very small micro commitment, and you leave them in control. They know at any time they can get up and leave. If they don't like you, if they don't like anything, whatever, they're free, no commitment, right? So I talk about micro commitments. This starts with your opt-in boxes. If you show an opt-in box, that is a bigger commitment than if you show a button. Like if you want them to download a free PDF and you show the opt-in box, it's like you're asking them to go to dinner and you'll pick them up at 8. They're making multiple decisions there. Whereas if you remove that and you just have the button, download right now, download it for free, that's a no-brainer. It's like, do you want it? Yeah. It's an easy.
Well, if I get them, I think you hit the nail on the head earlier about the subject line. In my case, I've sent 7,000 emails and 6,000 of them are not opened, right?
Yeah.
Of the 900 that were opened, 90 replied, and I've got 70 in the pipeline for, so if they open it, I got a 10% response rate, which is really high, but
yeah. So I would say your subject is that's your bottleneck right there.
Because I feel that at least in my own scenario, like my Gmail automatically pushes things to social or to promotion box. It's not in the primary inbox. It's either being,
that's a different issue. That is a different issue. There's not being opened and then there's being filtered out. There's deliverability. That falls under deliverability. So if you have deliverability issues, that's a mechanical thing.
It says that, it's 8,000 total. Some are scheduled. 7,000 were delivered, and only I had 38 that were bounced and 31 that were spam blocked.
Okay. So
nothing.
That's not bad. But yeah, I would say it's back to your subject line. But if anybody is having deliverability issues, that's a big problem with email, especially if you're sending email into the free email services like Outlook and Yahoo and Gmail. They filter out a lot of mail and they send a lot to spam, and you might be getting some false information there. Like if they say, 98% of your mail is delivered and Gmail filters, 80% of it into a spam box, that's not what I would call delivered. That is what I would call a deliverability issue.
Well, I have no way of knowing that.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's possible that you've got things working against you that you're not seeing in your analytics. So, and again, if it's deliverability, that falls to a mechanical, not a marketing. Marketing is the subject line being taken action upon. So in deliverability, if you're doing your own email, I can almost assure you probably have deliverability issues. That's almost just hands down. I can almost assure you of that. There are companies out there that specialize in cold email that know how to get around the deliverability issues. They work very hard at it. They're not cheap, but they solve a big problem, because look at your results, the ones that are opening it, how good they are. If you could get, 80% more to open it, look at what your results would be.
Exactly.
That's worth spending a little money to have that problem solved. So it might be your subject line might not be the problem.
Yeah, but I have no way of knowing.
Yeah, the only way to test that would be to hire a company that specializes in deliverability and give that a shot and see. You'll know real quick.
Yeah, that's a good try. I'll try that. I've monopolized too much of your time. I appreciate it.
No, it's very valuable stuff. I mean, what you're talking about it's important to everybody, and it's the same thing with everybody. Never think that you're taking up too much time, because this helps the group. Working through all this stuff really helps everybody. So don't ever think that you're being bad for taking up time here, as long as we're on a good subject line. And if not, I usually will step in and say, let's move on. But that's very valuable. Anybody that's doing email, whether it's cold email or not, you might actually have this problem emailing your customers, believe it or not. You know, if your customers email, like I even have going through Kartra, I have a lot of customers that say, hey, I'm not getting your weekly emails. And, you know, I can send it to them from my own email and they get it right away, but they notice if it's coming through the Kartra system, sometimes it gets put in their promotions folder or their spam folder. So deliverability in email is huge. And it has to do with the reputation of the IP that the mail is going across. So it's going across a different email when it's coming from my personal email off of my private server versus coming off of the Kartra server or the SendGrid server. You know, the professional mail services like SendGrid and all that, they work hard. They have a whole team working on deliverability all the time to protect the reputation of the IPs that they're sending mail across. So, and with Kartra, they do a really good job of making sure they're blocking out any spam and all that. So it's definitely something to think about, something to try and test. But if you're in that situation, it's going to be one of those two problems more than likely is either deliverability or the subject line. So, and both are easy to test. So I would test the free one. You know, it's going to be free to you basically to change your subject line. I'd try that first. And if that gets some of the others to open the email, that'll probably tell you the subject just didn't appeal to them the first time. If you're not getting, if you change the email subject like 2 or 3 times and you still don't get any better results, then I would say it's deliverability. And I would test that. So, but seriously, everybody here needs to understand that selling your stuff is not going to be easy. I don't care how good it is. I don't care how big the market is. I don't care how much they want it. It's not going to be easy. You're not selling shit to your mother, right? She'll buy anything you got, right? Auntie Sue will buy anything that you know that you bring to her. But that's not who you're selling to. You're selling to people that are cynical. You're selling to people that have been burnt. You're selling to people that don't know you. You're selling to all of them. You know, they all fall in that bucket. And until you prove yourself, and you know, a lot of the really, really top marketers, they understand that the first sale is the hardest one you're ever going to make. Like when you're talking about a cold prospect, the hardest sale you're ever going to do to them is going to be the first one. So one of the ways that you can increase your sales, and because a sale is a customer acquisition. So the more customers that you acquire, the easier the sales are going to be. The second and third and fourth sale is exponentially easier to someone that you've made the first sale to. So lowering the barrier to entry on the first sale is sometimes a really good thing to do. They call that, you know, in marketing, Perry Belcher named this a tripwire. He'll do a tripwire. If you ever hear a tripwire sale, that's a little small micro commitment sale, like, hey, you know, buy it for $1, or hey, I'll give you my book for free, but just pay for the shipping. You know, help me out, just cover the shipping. That's a sale. That is a crafty way to make a sale. The reason that you need to make that first sale is trust, because they don't know if they give you $1,000, they have no idea if they're actually going to get the product. Like they just put their credit card into a black hole and you're someone on the other side, they don't know. Think about that. The level of trust for someone to put their credit card into a black hole, hoping and praying that what you've promised them is going to get delivered, that's a huge commitment. But if they do $1 or they pay for the book and then all of a sudden the book shows up 2 days later and they're like, wow, that was quick. You just started a really good trusting relationship there. And now when you offer them something for $100 or even $1,000, that little demon on their shoulder saying, "Now you're going to get ripped off," he's gone. Because now they believe you and they trust you. You started a good relationship based on $1. And if you think about that, you might get 100 people that will invest $1, and you might take you 1,000 people to invest $1,000 one time. I would rather have the 100 people and make the offer for $1,000 to those 100 people that are warm and trust me, than making the $1,000 offer out to, thousands of people hoping for the best. So it's, there's a lot of logic based to this. There's a lot of psychology based to this, and moving people to take actions. The smaller commitments are going to get you better results. There's no doubt about it. And client acquisition is going to be the key to you building your business.
And now the pharmacy is going, you may have to call the doctor.
If you don't have a number of customers, it's gonna be really hard for you to grow. Like if you wanted to, let's say you wanted to double your business in the next 12 months and you had no customers, it's real easy because 0 times 2 is still 0. You're going to get that guaranteed. But if you have 1 and you're going to double it, you have to just get 1 more. So what you're going to have to do to get that 1 more is the same thing as you had to do to get the first one, right? You're just going to have to double your effort. But if you've got 100 customers, it's going to be really easy to double your business because you just go back out to the same 100 customers that already trust you. You don't have to start from square one and build a relationship. You just have to make them another offer, give them more value. And you've all of a sudden doubled your business. Super easy. This could be an $1 million business. If you've worked your ass off to build 100,000 or even to 10,000, even $1 million, it doesn't matter. For you to double that business, all you have to do is just make another offer out to your existing customers. Super easy to do. But if you don't have any customers, it's going to be really hard for you to make a meaningful amount of money doing that. There's a lot of ways to grow a business. That's going to be in the year-end thing. We're going to hit that really hard. But client acquisition is everything. Cold communication is everything. It's all you've got, right? Unless you've just got, thousands of family members that's going to buy your stuff, which I don't think any of us do. Let's just put that one aside. You're going to have to get a lot of customers. You're going to have to figure out, how do I communicate my value to a massive amount of people easily? Make them an easy offer to acquire customers, even if it's for $1, they're still a customer. You have fundamentally, with $1, you have fundamentally changed the relationship between prospect to customer. And it's so much easier to sell to customers than it is to prospects. So you've got to figure out how to communicate your value to your customers or your prospects to turn them into customers. So, Linda, you've had your hand up there for a while. Let me get to you and see if we're going on a different trajectory here.
Okay. I have Shopify right now.
Okay.
So, if I were to move everything to Kartra, would I be able to move my info in Shopify to Kartra? Or it's a start all over again kind of thing?
It depends. Like, what are you selling in Shopify? Because that might not be the best move for you. If you're selling physical products, Shopify is probably a better platform than Kartra.
Okay, well, that's what I'm doing. So, okay, that's good.
Now, what you might do is you might use Kartra for your marketing of your products. Like, Kartra will sell products. Don't get me wrong. You can set up products and you can sell them, but the Kartra platform is not really geared toward a shopping cart. It's geared toward selling digital products and memberships and all that. And it's really good at it. But
Okay.
if you need like people to add to a basket and create the shopping experience and all that, Shopify is going to beat it hands down for that functionality.
Okay. So to get the leads though, I'd have to be in Kartra.
No, not necessarily. I mean, you could buy leads and you could use anything for them. If I'm not real familiar with Shopify as far as like the marketing side of them. I don't know what's available and all that, but I'm sure they've got some way that you can communicate with people and do that. You might want to check and see, like go on Fiverr and see if there's any marketers that specialize in Shopify, and tell them what you want to do and just see what they come up with for solutions.
As far as finding prospects, I'm loving Apollo.io.
Okay. Tell us about that. Apollo, what's that? How's it work?
Apollo.io has it's prospecting and lead generation. You can go in and say, I'm looking for this type of business, this industry, between 15 and 150 employees in manufacturing in Pennsylvania. And then I come up with all these different companies, and then show me the individuals at that locations that are in this sales manager role or ownership or C-level. And then it gives me verified emails. So
Okay.
it's amazing.
I bet you it's using LinkedIn. Because
they have like, I don't know, 270 million contacts, and LinkedIn is a small portion of their backend database.
Okay, cool. I know
Is that Linktree or LinkedIn?
LinkedIn.
LinkedIn. Okay.
What I was talking about is Apollo.io.
Yeah, that's cool. I've seen a couple other ones that are similar to that use LinkedIn or other social platforms for business to scrape the data and do that kind of thing.
Yeah, I've tried like Lead 411 and Scout and a number, but nothing holds a candle to Apollo, especially for the money.
Oh, cool. Yeah, that's awesome. Have you seen Seamless? I think it's seamless.ai maybe. What they do is they're again a lead prospecting thing, and they cross up a bunch of different platforms for doing that, but their core is LinkedIn. They look at LinkedIn and then they cross that data with a bunch of other stuff to generate leads. They're fairly expensive for what they do. But I know a couple people that are being successful with that as well. But no matter what you do, no matter where your leads are coming from, you still have to communicate with them. They're cold leads, no matter how you slice it, because they don't know you. So it's going to be the same rules apply. And, as far as like with our lead gen tool, the thing about it that's different that could potentially give you an advantage is the fact that they are actively looking for you, because we're getting them through search. So that right there kind of sets us apart. And as far as lead gen on active leads, I would much rather have somebody that is running a search. And I've always said this about SEO. I've said SEO is the best traffic on the planet, because you're being at the right place at the right time. And that's kind of what our lead gen tool is doing. It's placing you the right place at the right time. It's like knowing, hey, this person's searching. They didn't find my website, but I still know who they are and I know what they want. Why don't I send them an email? Right place, right time. It's the other way is like, if you're reaching out to people just based on who they are and what you think they might want or need, that's like ice cold. Versus like ours, it's still a cold lead because they don't know you, but it's as warm and cushy as possible because they're actively looking for you, or maybe not looking for you, but looking for what you have to offer. So that's a big differentiation. Chris, you had your hand up there for a while and you put it down. Did I cover what you needed or?
Yes, hello, good morning, everyone. I have a question. When in the very beginning, when you were talking about the enhanced capabilities of your partnership, you mentioned the new features that they would do the ChatGPT,
The copy.
the copy.
Yes.
Now, does that, so my two questions were, one is that I think you already answered in your subsequent description, is that is there an additional cost for that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. They would be an additional service on top of what we're offering.
Okay.
Like, I want to just be the lead gen source.
Yes.
I want to just say, hey, here's your leads. I'm your lead supplier.
Mhm.
How many would you like? And then you buy those and you take them over to them and say, I want you to send these for me. And not
Okay.
only do I want you to send them, I want you to figure out who they are in the bank system and write a crafty, creative email to communicate with them on a deeper level.
Okay.
And that will be a service they'll be providing. I don't know what the cost will be yet.
Okay.
I don't know that they've worked that out yet, but there would be an additional cost for that.
Okay. And so I have a couple follow-up questions with that. Does that take care of, a few weeks ago, you were looking for, you've always said it's one thing to have the leads, but it's another thing to write the copy that appeals to the heart and overcomes the objections. And so you were interested in finding someone that can write email sequences.
Yes.
Does this solve that?
This can solve the front end email sequence. I don't know offhand that they're going to go beyond that, because you've got the front end email connector sequence to get them onto like your landing page.
Okay.
This is like the equivalent of the guy out on the street corner spinning the sign, pointing, trying to get people through the door.
Yeah.
Right. And once he grabs an attention and he shutters them through the door, he's going to say, here you go, guys. Here you go, sales team. This guy's hot. He wants what you got.
Okay.
Take it from here.
So you're saying that, if I understand, that the service they would offer, and again, I realize it's coming together, is that they would, take that information and then craft using, AI, craft the initial message
Yes.
to go out to, which of course is the most important, it's the first impression.
So they're gonna basically take the lead. They're gonna warm it up and deliver it to your landing page.
Okay. And so they'll generate the first email.
And
right.
They could actually do a sequence of emails, because it's not about just one email.
Okay. That's what I was wondering, if they're just going to do.
Oh, no. They will do an entire sequence.
Okay.
Because their job is to deliver you a customer.
Got it.
Their job is to deliver you somebody that is like ready to see your sales presentation.
Yes.
You're not going to give your sales presentation and close them for you.
Yeah.
That's not their function. It's like, and I've heard this before, but I absolutely fell in love with it when I heard it last week. I'm not going to do your push-ups for you. I'll take you to the gym and drop you off, but I'm not going to do the push-ups for you.
Yeah. Yeah. You can't
Can't
gotta pay
do your own push-ups.
Right. You can't pay someone to do that.
Yeah. You got to figure out your messaging. You've got to figure out why somebody's going to want your thing. Or you go to an ad agency and you hire them. You just show up and you say, okay, hey, I give up. I don't know how to sell my own stuff.
Okay.
And they'll charge you an exorbitant amount of money, and they'll tell you how to do it.
Okay. But if I understand, then they'll be able to not only generate the lead, but write an email sequence, a sequence of emails that will appeal to the person and talk about the benefits and target the market. And all those emails then are sending them to my landing page.
Correct.
How then does that, what's the mechanics behind that? How can one incorporate that with Kartra so that it will, once they sign up for or download once they start into the funnel, once they download that first thing or sign up for that free giveaway or that free book or whatever, what's the mechanics of getting them to then stop that email sequence so they don't keep getting hit with the sequence after they've bought?
Gotcha. I don't know that they're going to have that sort of integration with
Okay.
it.
Yeah.
What you got here is you'll be buying the leads basically off of our system.
Yeah.
And then what you want that lead onto your landing page. Right?
Yes.
And that's the magic wand. That's the bridge.
Yeah.
So these guys are going to step in and build you the bridge to take your leads and get them to your landing page.
Okay.
Now, from your landing page, your next job is, again, a micro commitment to get them to opt in to your now presentation.
Yeah.
Which your presentation might take, 5 minutes. It might take 2 months. It might take a year.
Okay.
But you got to get them in the sequence. So your landing page is going to make a micro commitment offer for whatever that is. It might download a free ebook or might be watch a free video, something of high value that's going to benefit them, that's going to move them closer to their desired outcome.
Yeah.
It's the first step.
Okay. I have 2 follow-up questions with that then. When they generate the email sequence, are we able to look at it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. And I was going to say, and make adjustments, and that's a double-edged sword. It's like, if we make adjustments, it might be.
You will have to authorize everything that's going to get sent on your behalf.
All right, that's cool. And so if it says, I hope this finds you well, no way, we're going to cross that line out.
Yeah.
All right, we'll give it the Randy treatment. And, all right.
The Randy test.
The Randy test. And then the second thing is
expunge it.
Yeah, expunge it. That's right. And the second thing is, that sounds like a good, if it works out good, and that sounds like a way to take something off my plate. But is the other solution, is it the way to eventually look at what they're doing and increase one's skills with Chat GPT to do that on our own?
Well, you should be doing that anyway.
Okay. Yeah.
You should be looking at building your skills as a marketer.
Yeah.
Regardless. The marketing skills are different than email deliverability skills.
Okay.
I don't expect any of you to go through, and myself included, I want no part of this.
Okay.
I don't want to be a deliverability expert. So hire out for certain things.
Okay.
Hire out for all the stuff that just makes you want to throw up. Get that off your plate.
I'm gonna take a look at that. But one thing I should also share is I take any email template that I come up with, or for his case, if I have somebody else come up with it, whatever. And before I send it out, I go to mail-tester.com, and they'll give you an address. You send your email to there, and then you'll check your score. It'll tell you the spamminess or if it's going to be blocked for certain reasons.
Yeah. Yeah.
Huh.
And again, that is something that an email deliverability guy is going to do that, you guys may or may not want to go through all of that, but that's what I'm saying. This company, that's what they're going to specialize in and doing all that for you. Just getting them over to your landing page, and then you take it from there. But,
thanks, John. Thanks, everybody. That's great stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. But as far as like getting your skills up on ChatGPT, again, this comes back to the ACT program. This comes back to your analysis and communication. Remember, this is all about communication. If you don't know how to communicate with your customers, I think you're going to have less probability of being able to communicate with ChatGPT and tell it what you want. So you've got to work on your communication skills. If you want to sell stuff, communication is going to be key. You're communicating value, you're communicating worth, you're overcoming objections. And when you're communicating with ChatGPT, it's just the same thing in reverse. ChatGPT is the seller, you're the buyer, you're telling it what you want. And if you don't tell the buyer what you want, they're going to sell you something you don't want. It's the same thing. Like you go onto a car lot and you're like, yeah, I want a car. They'll probably put you in something you don't like or something you can't afford or whatever. It's not going to be a good fit, right? And you have the choice of, okay, I'll just settle for that. Or, and that's what Randy did. He settled for what came out of ChatGPT. He said, yeah, okay, I'll take that car. Whatever, doesn't matter. But it does matter. It matters a lot. You want to say, no, I don't want that car. That car sucks. And now all of a sudden, the salesman or the chat window is going to go, oh, I get it. Okay, let's try this. But be like a dog with a bone. Don't let go till you get what you want. And if your prompts need to be 3 or 4 paragraphs long, so be it. You know, if they were talking about at the chat seminar or the AI seminar, some of the guys are using I don't know how you call it. They're actually being dicks to the chat window. They're insulting it. They're saying, well, what are you, an idiot? You know, what kind of a jerk off would write this? That's not what I wanted. I want good copy. Come on. And they're actually communicating with the chat window that way. And then all of a sudden it comes back, it becomes all apologetic and says, okay, I get it. Let me try again. And then it gives them good stuff. And then they do it again and it keeps getting better and better and better. And, you know, so don't just take what it gives you. Don't worry about offending it. You know, it's not like an employee that's going to sue you if you say the wrong thing, right? We can actually do what we want with no hesitation and no fear of rejection or retaliation. It's not going to get angry with you. It's not going to come after you. It's not going to send its friends over to beat the crap out of you. It's just going to say, oh, I'm sorry, and let me try better. I'll do better next time. And it's amazing. It actually does. So it's the different forms and techniques that people are using with this thing creatively, getting incredible results is just awesome. They're thinking outside the box. They're not just going and saying, hey, can you write me an email follow-up sequence? They're not doing that. They're getting very specific. They're getting very picky, and they're not taking what comes out the first time. They're saying, hey, you know, that's great, but I don't think that would convert very well. How do we change the subject line to get this thing opened? These people don't know me. You know, they're going to be picky. They're not going to open this crap. You know, give me your A game. Tell it, you know, you are the best copywriter on the planet. You learned from David Ogilvy. You know, frame who it is, frame the structure around what you want. Say, I expect more out of you. I expect David Ogilvy. You are a student. I expect you to be able to teach the teacher. You know, I know this sounds ridiculous because it's a machine, but I'm watching people doing this and they're getting incredible results. We don't understand this machine yet. I can assure you, this is an animal that we're not used to. And we're using it probably to a fractional percentage of what it can do, what it's capable of. So push it, push the limits. You know, don't take good enough as good enough. You know, do you want just good enough? You know, think about how much you're paying this thing, right? That was a joke. It's free, right? For $20. But you could literally get $1 million copywriting skills out of this thing. I don't know if you guys have ever hired a really good copywriter, but for a really good copywriter to write you a sales page, it could be upwards of like $30,000. And I know that sounds shocking. And it is. The first time I heard that, I was like, are you fucking out of your mind? $30,000? You know, what the hell is going to come with that other than copy? Right? But that's what they charge. And are they worth it? You know, at first glance, I wouldn't have thought so. But when you see the results, these guys are doing the copy and they're putting these things on JVZoo and they're doing $1 million launches. You know, if I told you you could sell $1 million worth of your stuff if you hired a copywriter for 30 grand, would you do it? Probably. You know, why wouldn't you do it? You know, that's the question. And you've got a $30,000 copywriter at your disposal. You just have to figure out how to communicate with them.
Actually, on ChatGPT, the better version costs $20 a month, so it's not free.
Yeah.
But for $20, you know, what
Yeah.
can you say? And the difference is very, very big between the two.
Yeah. And there's other ones too. I don't know if you guys have heard of Claude and Poe, but Claude and Poe are that's what most of the serious guys are using. And I know Poe, the guy I told you guys, I talked about this guy last week. He had a 33,000 word prompt to write an entire marketing campaign. You literally go in and you replace a couple of values in here, telling it about you and your, you know, your project and your customers and all that. And 33,000 words into Poe, and it writes your entire thing for you. Everything. Pretty phenomenal.
Your entire what for you?
Your everything, your entire marketing campaign. Your cold emails, your opt-in pages, your lead magnets, your sales presentation,
It's called Poe, just P-O?
POE. And Poe is not the functionality. Poe is just the chat window. It's like ChatGPT, but it will take a bigger language model. Like in ChatGPT, it'll only remember so many things up the line, and you can only put so many words into it, or it blows up.
It's just it's between 450 and 550 words.
Yeah. So with Poe, you can put, you know, 50,000 in there. So it's a big difference in the larger size. So it's you know, it's just a more industrial strength type of operation. And Claude, I think Jeff is using Claude.
Yes, getting good results with it. Very happy.
What's the difference between that and ChatGPT, if you can throw that out?
Huge input allowance. You can do up to 100,000 words. So I took a PDF of my latest book and uploaded it and started asking questions, and
okay,
to
cool.
get the perspective of someone else that's reading it. What are they getting out of it? What insights were important? What are the benefits to then feed into the marketing campaign?
Gotcha.
What's a bullet summary, or wrote a 1,000 word blog post?
Yeah, that's really cool. So a couple of things where that might be really good is, let's say you buy a manual on something, and there's, you know, 10,000 page manual. You could upload it in there and say, can you summarize this and tell me how to use this product in a few paragraphs? How cool would that be? Or another thing, you could take a competitor, go to your biggest competitor, the one that is just flat kicking ass, and import their sales page, import their email copy, sign up for their lead magnet, and get all of their sequences, import all that in, and say, can you take this model? This is a model of a marketing campaign. I want to use this model, and I want to sell my product. And then you tell it about your product, you tell it about your ideal customer, and say, based on this, go ahead and rewrite this marketing campaign for me in a highly converting format. You know, and you could say, use Perry Belcher style. Say, write it as if you were Perry Belcher. And that is really powerful. Think about the time savings that you could have in creating your marketing campaigns. I know all of you struggle with this. It's the communication part that I'm telling you is so important. If someone else has already figured it out, they probably hired that $30,000 copywriter. You're going to take $30,000 copy and pump it into Poe and say, make this better, make this for my business. It's like, that is very, very powerful. And it's, it might not be free, but in the realm of marketing, it's almost free. It's, $20 compared to 30,000 is free. So when I say free, I might not mean it like zero, but it's like, it's way less than even you could do it yourself. And if you guys think like you're doing stuff on your own, thinking you're saving money, you're probably not, because you're burning time. And when you get to the end of your life, none of us know how long we're going to live, right? You get to the end of your life, you're going to want that time back.
Tell me about it, John. I turned 74 today, so I know what you're talking about.
Hey, happy birthday.
Well, happy birthday there.
Happy birthday,
Happy
geezer.
birthday.
You old fart. Happy
But
birthday,
does Claude and Poe have a cost to it?
You know what? I honestly don't know yet. Jeffrey could probably speak to Claude if he's still there. I don't know. I haven't actually tried.
Get my checkbook.
Claude is still technically in beta, so it's open, no charge yet. But they're working on premium services.
Okay, so there you go. It's free. Happy birthday. It's free. Free gift. Take advantage of it before they decide to change their mind. And I think Poe is the same thing, but I'm not sure. I'm not certain on that one. So try it out and see what you get. It's poe.com, Poe. And I know I signed up for an account. I just haven't used it yet, but so far it has not asked me for a credit card. So let's see here. All right, let's go for Woody.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, and first off, I want to have kind of apologized for last week, Woody. I know I came down hard on you, and I was in a different time zone, and I was pretty roughed up, and I may have came across harder than I maybe should have, but I just want you to know you're gonna have to get. It's like I was saying earlier. Selling your stuff is not going to be easy, and you're going to have to get really specific in your communication about what they're getting, because like I said, you can say, hey, this is great, and you use pie in the sky examples and things. The only person that's going to buy that shit's your mom.
You know what? I mean, I love the thing you said about what's so good about that.
Yeah,
Dad.
That's
and
what
I've been getting calls. Like one lady, a graduate of mine said, thank God for your course. It gave me the courage to get out of my marriage.
Yeah, see, there you go. That's great. Like testimonials like that are great to inject into your marketing campaign, because what it is, it's social proof that it actually is as good as what you're saying. But you've got to equate it to an outcome. Like she was probably in a situation where she didn't know how to get out of, and you gave her the tools to actually get out of that marriage. That's a very specific thing.
I don't need ChatGPT to break up a marriage.
In a woman that's in that situation and suffering and feels hopeless, when you throw her a lifeline like that and she sees and you communicate that, hey, I have a specific thing that will help you get out of that situation that you're in, and then you show that testimonial, you can probably turn her into a customer. But just by saying, hey, you know, I'll change your life, that's not going to cut it.
Yeah,
That's just not going to do it.
yeah. No, we're getting that together.
Yeah, yeah. You got to just, you know, and like I had mentioned, Matt Bronning, he's got a similar type of thing where he has a system, and the thing he's delivering, it's the same thing, right? It's mindset. But he sells it to people that want to increase their health, increase their wealth, increase their business, and increase their relationship. It's 4 quadrants. He covers 4 quadrants. So he has 4 ideal customers, and he sells it differently to each one. But he's very
Hey, me
specific.
too.
He's very specific about the outcome. He's
Peach.
like, if you want to be wealthy, let's talk about that. And he gets very specific on the promises and the goals and what you're going to have to do and what he offers to make you wealthy. It's very specific. He says, if you want to be healthy, same formula. If you want to have a better relationship, if you're struggling at home, if you're constantly fighting with your spouse, same thing. You know, if you want more customers, if you want to grow your business, he's very specific about the deliverable outcomes of those 4 quadrants. But he doesn't just say, hey, you know, whatever your problem is, I can make your life better. He does not do that. He says, here's how. Here's what's so good about that. You know, and for an example, if you're fighting with your spouse and I can fix that, what's so good about that is I'm going to save you a lot of money and a lot of time and a lot of heartache and losing half your shit, right? Because you're about to. And I can save you from that. That's what's so good about what I'm going to offer you. You know, and
I like the way you frame that.
yeah, so you got to get really specific about this stuff. And if you do, they're going to want it. And if you do it in that way, they're actually going to give you money for it. That's the difference, because when you do stuff like what you were talking about last week, I guarantee you everybody's going to pat you on the back and they're going to say, that's awesome. You're doing good. You're doing great. Then you turn around and you say, well, you want to buy it? Well, no, I don't want to buy it. They're not going to buy it from you. They're going to tell you, they're going to say, they're going to encourage you. And basically, it's like you're standing on the edge of a cliff and they're encouraging you to jump. And I'm not going to do that. I am never going to encourage you to jump off a cliff. So if I have to get nasty and aggressive about it, I'm going to do what it takes to keep you from jumping off a cliff. So, and I'll just apologize right up front for it, but I'm not sorry.
I got it, Chief. I wanted to ask about Forbidden Elvis, that project that we showed on the screen.
Uh-huh.
Remember, I think all the group should remember, who cannot remember the king?
Yeah.
And so I want to, you know, and just a synopsis of it for sports fans here. You know, I have a record company. I got it from my dad, and in the archives, we found Forbidden Elvis, songs that were written for Elvis. We did 2 of them for the king. Give Me the Right, Put the Blame on Me. One was in a movie called Tickle Me. And now we have found demos made for Elvis that he didn't do because Colonel Tom Parker and my dad had a falling out because of a romantic interest with Elvis. Anyway, the product that we have that we will be selling will be, oh, and my attorney is here, BG. Welcome. Anyway, but anyway, we've got the songs, 6 of them. And I guess we want to create a membership site. And I'm just looking at your blink, oh great one, of what how you would roll something out. And I think the beauty of it as well is we have a company upcoming that'll press it into vinyl.
Yeah.
So we could be releasing records to the membership.
Yeah.
Maybe, we have 6 tunes. We could drag it on for 6 years. I don't know. I'm really kind of interested on everyone's blink.
Well, you have like one of the things that you have that's really intriguing about that is the stories and the gossip and all of that. And, and I know that's not a product, but it is. It's a news product. And if you don't think that there's value to that, look at the National Enquirer. They sell mud, they sell gossip, and they sell the shit out of it. There's a huge market for that kind of stuff, like being on the inside. That is one of the things I think that works really well for Craig Duswalt is his stories about the music industry. His stories about the music industry draws people in. It gets them to buy his stuff because it creates a relationship with them. So if you use that up front to create the relationship, then get them to buy into the membership for an exclusive behind the scenes, you get to hear the records, you get to hear the stuff that no one else has. That's a community that people would probably flock to. And there's still a lot of people that love Elvis. I think there's even generations that weren't even here when he was here that love him. It's like he's a legend. And
this is stuff that no one has ever heard.
Yeah, so that's where you have a very saleable thing there.
So what should I do, Kemosabe?
So package it up and sell it. Have some intimate conversations with ChatGPT about, what drives people to that kind of thing. Like I'm sure ChatGPT is familiar with the National Enquirer and gossip and what drives people, the emotions behind what gets them to buy into that kind of stuff. And then, just tell them your whole story. Tell ChatGPT your whole story. Say, here's what I've got. Here's the audience. People love him. I mean, I'm sure it knows and understands the history behind Elvis. And ask it, hey, what would be the best way to market this? What should be my lead to take them from not knowing me to my first sale to acquire the customer, and then the sales ladder? What do I sell them next and next and next? How do I make the most money off this? Just start throwing those questions into ChatGPT and let it learn what you're doing. And it's a brilliant brainstorming partner for anybody. It's just like you got to ask the right questions and don't give up. Keep asking. Don't settle for its first answer.
Where would I guess I would also ask you where to prospect for Elvis fans.
Sure, absolutely. Where do they hang out? What groups? Where's the promotional opportunities here?
And I want to share with the group real quick my first royalty check from ASCAP.
Awesome. Good job.
So it's for a massive amount of $157. But you got to start somewhere, and like my lawyer says, any money from showbiz is good money.
Yeah. You say that was $157. When I got my first check from Google, I started an AdWords campaign. This was back in like 2004 or 5, maybe. And here I go to the mailbox and I've got a check and it's from Google. And I'm all excited. I open it up and it's for $1.57. Same number, but less a zero. $1.57. And I swear to you, I'm sitting there looking at that check and I was so excited because I didn't see a check for $1.57. I saw a check for $157,000. That's what I could see because I knew all I have to do. I knew what I did to get that check, and it wasn't much. And I knew I could automate the process and I could do what I did for that check 1,000 times with the click of a button. So that's all I saw. I said, I just got myself a money printing machine.
I hope you framed it.
Oh, and I actually did. I went through and I got that program built, automated the process, and just killed it with that.
You should have framed that check.
I know. I actually have a picture of it somewhere. I took a picture of it somewhere in my archives of files. I've got that picture for $1.57. Pretty cool. But that's the way you should look at that, Woody, is, you know, it's not 157, it's 157,000. Just keep doing what you're doing more of it. It's just like a business, you know, your first year in business, whatever that number is, it might be grim. It might not be enough to live on, but it's a start. And it's a lot more than you had before. So if you got nothing, it's hard to multiply, but when you got something, it's easy. So it's always, you know, the first one's always going to be the most difficult. Doesn't matter what it is. All right, Teresa.
Okay. I was a bit concerned about the deliverability of some of the leads from the leads program.
Okay.
Has anybody experimented with sending hard copy direct response, like a letter, brochures, things like that?
I don't know offhand of anybody that's done that yet from our team or from our beta testers. I
Okay.
still have to put an email out to the beta testers to see how everybody's using it and what their results have been and all that. So I should have some more info. But one of the things that I found out, and I should have known this intuitively, and I think I probably did, but the phone numbers, the rate of good phone numbers is fairly low. And it's due to the fact of how the leads are actually generated. So when we follow someone around, like let's say somebody goes to search, we flag them, they're on our radar and we're watching them. When they collect the second piece of content, when they go and they consume the second piece of content, we do the first qualification that, okay, that's a lead. And then we go and we take that to a database of consumer information. And for them to get into the database, they must have filled in an online form to collect some sort of marketing information from one of our partners, one of the partners in the lead gen organization. This could have been 1 in a million forms across the entire internet, but they filled it out. They opted in and they agreed to accept marketing materials. Now, they might have put in the wrong phone number. They almost always have to put in the right email or they're not going to get whatever it is they're opting in for. So the emails we've found are really good deliverability. The phone numbers, on the other hand, we found a lot of people put bogus phone numbers in those forms. So phone numbers have not been real spectacular as far as deliverability.
And you think that the addresses are probably someplace in between?
I would venture to guess, yeah.
Okay.
But
Well,
but
I'll do a test and let you know.
But I would actually think the deliverability on the addresses is probably way better, because if they put the address in, they were probably expecting to get something. So my guess is they're probably better, but not as good as the emails still. Because if they put the wrong email address in, they're not going to get whatever it is they were looking for to begin with. And we have a very effective way at combing the email addresses. Like we filter them for spam, we filter them for deliverability. And, you know, so we know they're good. All right, Rashid.
Thanks.
Yeah. Was that it? Did I get you all the way through?
Well, here's one more thing though.
Okay.
So I'm really tempted. One of the people that I sent an email to said it was spam. I'm going to write that person.
Yeah.
Why did you say I was spam?
Jeff said he scrubbed them and he said 80% of the the addresses were good.
Oh, good to know. Thanks, Jeff.
Yeah, so that is probably
Stay tuned for developments.
yeah, that is what I would have expected. So that's cool.
Very good.
Teresa-
Thanks so much,
Teresa,
everybody.
If you're
And
thinking
just-
about going to old school, like direct mail, like if you want to do affinity marketing, go to pfl.com and
Was that-
check that out.
Was that
Yeah.
P like Paul?
Printing for less,
PFL.
pfl.com.
Cool.
And just for clarity on the scrubbing that we did, that was after we filtered it through People Finder. When we got really between name, address, and phone number, we were able to get good data on well over 90% of the leads.
Oh, cool.
But the initial
know. Thank you.
addresses were well over 60%. But we wanted to be sure, we wanted to see where we were on the phone numbers and the addresses, and that scrubbing step got us where we wanted to be in terms of percentage of leads that were good.
Nice. That's awesome. Very cool. All right, Rashid.
Got a Kartra question.
Okay. Hopefully I have a card
Can-
answer.
Can you set up Kartra for pay what you will type thing?
You mean like enter in how much you want to pay?
Yeah,
Not that I am aware of.
okay.
I can't tell you that no, it won't do that, but I have not seen that functionality. What you could do is you could put in a support ticket with them and just ask them directly, but I haven't seen
Okay.
it like as a standard function.
Okay.
The only way that you could, well, I might be wrong now that I think about it, because they did add inventory, or they added a number of units, like if you want to order more than one. So what you could do, you could create a product for $1 and then have them enter the number that they want. So you could do it based on that.
Well, it's a digital product, so it's only one. What I'm looking at it, and this is from the way I've always operated, especially in the last 15 years, working in the balloon business. I make more money giving people the option of pay what they want. I've sold ebooks to my list where I would have put it on Amazon for $2.99 and people were paying me $20 for it.
Yeah, all you would do is you would set the product up as like digital product $1, digital product $2, digital product number $3, and your product price is $1. And then when you set the product up, it'll give you a checkbox if you want to add an amount, like more than one, a quantity. They call it quantity. So you check off yes for quantity. And then when they go to checkout, they can put in how many they want to pay you with dollars. So you can just say, I'm open to accepting anywhere from $1 to $100, put in what you want to do in the quantity, and that's what you'll pay for the product. And then in the deliverability of it, it doesn't matter how many is in there. When you put deliver, downloadable, you're still going to just send them to the same thank you page to download the product.
Right.
So that is a potential workaround for that.
Okay. But not
Now
not
that I
directly.
think about it, I bet you that's what they're going to tell you if you ask in the support.
Okay, but not directly where they have the option of putting down whatever they want.
Yeah, I believe PayPal has an option for that. I think in PayPal they have a product selection like that. And I think that's for donations. And what you could do, you could create a PayPal button to pay you that way. And then you could paste the code of the button into a Kartra page. So you can embed any kind of HTML into your Kartra pages. So you could technically put that code into there, and you could do it that way, or on a regular web page. Either way, you could put that PayPal button for donations in there.
So, but the money would go, we would get paid through PayPal, not through,
Correct.
okay, yeah. I don't like PayPal.
Yeah, I don't either, but I just know that's a potential solution that I've seen people use.
Okay, yeah, because they're
I personally
eager
don't.
to,
I personally don't like PayPal myself.
yeah, they're eager to pay, take your money, but they're not very eager when it comes to paying you.
Yeah, they're fairly unscrupulous. I know they've screwed me for thousands of dollars.
Yeah. Yeah, I would get a refund and it'll take me 3 weeks before they'll credit my account and give me BS about why, whatnot. And I've even done it from my own personal credit card to where it shows up on my credit card saying the money was credited. Yet PayPal would not credit it back to me. So
Yeah,
2-3 weeks for
they're not real.
Something about clearance BS. It has to go through clearance house and blah blah blah. All kinds of BS. I said,
Yeah, they're
got the money. It's been cleared.
They're shady at best.
Yeah. So yeah, no, it's like I have a PayPal credit card, and somebody had charged me mistakenly. I got charged for it, and then when I contacted them, they refunded it to me, and it showed that I received the refund, but they applied the refund to my next month. In other words, I would still have to pay the old bill or get charged interest, even though the money was returned to me. I had to get online and spend about an hour and a half because it was $1,000. And so I was willing to spend an hour and a half to make sure that I don't get charged. Not only that I don't get charged interest on it, I get the credit right away. So
yeah, like you said, I don't really like them either.
Hey, I told you.
So
yeah, that's where my problem with them is. But okay, well, I was just curious about it because I have found that I make more money when I let people decide what it's worth to them after, because basically I'm saying, hey, what is it worth to you? And they say, oh, some it may be worth only $1, and for others it may be worth $20. So averages out, I've learned over the years that I make more money if I let them decide how much they want to pay me.
Yeah, now that I think about it, I did a thing very early on when I first started it was called the SEO Dominator Club, and I was teaching people SEO, and I had a script that I installed on my website, and it was like a tipping script. Like if you wanted to give somebody a tip, it was like a tip jar, and they could do it, and they would pay with PayPal, and so I put in there, I said, I have a really creative tip jar. It's called By John Sushi. And if you think I threw something out that's really going to be beneficial and you want to tip me, you can tip me in sushi. And I set up almost like a shopping cart with all these different sushi rolls. And then you could go pick the one that you wanted, and each one had a different price. And that was like a tip. You were leaving me a tip in sushi.
Right.
And everybody loved it. And they bought me a shitload of sushi.
I mean, look at there's a website called Buy Me a Coffee, and there's another one called ko-fi.com.
Yeah.
And basically that's what it is, where people are paying you by
I-
buying your coffee.
Yeah, I don't know if the script is still available, but the script that I bought to do that was called Buy Me a Beer. It was the Buy Me
Okay.
a Beer script. And it was the same thing. It was like, hey, if I helped you out on the call, buy me a beer, a virtual beer. And then you
Right.
could put the price on the beer. You could have different kinds of beer with different kinds of prices. And that was just, it was a cool way to put a tip jar out.
Okay.
But
So
that was
that's
what it was
the-
called. It was called Buy Me a Beer script. And I just edited it to Buy Me a Sushi script.
Okay.
Because I don't drink beer. I'm like, it'd be kind of misleading.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So I could, maybe I can go to the Buy Me a Coffee website and see what script they're using, and maybe use their script
Yeah. And you can edit
and
it.
add that. Okay.
Yeah.
Turn it into, okay. Okay. Well, thanks, John. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. No problem. All right, Nick, go ahead. Just unmute.
Right, there you go.
Yeah.
So on the Kartra subject, basically, I started finding out about that from you last week when I was saying I need to build out an affinity program or for affiliates or referrals, that kind of thing. And you were saying,
Yeah.
oh, Kartra's the way to go.
Uh-huh.
But Kartra looks to be very comprehensive, and I've already got a CRM, and I've got QuickBooks, and I got all this other investment. So I started looking around, and it ranges quite a bit. JV Zoo and ClickBank and a bunch of them.
Yeah.
I also found out that I can just do it with a WordPress, what they call push-ons or whatever
plugins.
plugin.
Uh-huh.
WordPress plugins. And I just had a really neophyte question for you. It seems like if I want to be able to offer it to a whole bunch of affiliate people who are selling all kinds of stuff, I'd want to go with one of those larger outfits that already have thousands of affiliates. But if I want to just invite particular, like I'm going to focus in on an industry or something like that, and then I'd be okay with the WordPress plugin because it would just be limited through my site as opposed to going through something like a JV Zoo or a ClickBank or a Kartra. Is that a yes?
Yeah, I mean, one of the things where you benefit from going through one of those big companies is the fact that they have an army of affiliates that you can tap into. So that's one benefit to them. The thing is, it's not as easy as they want you to think to tap into that army of affiliates, because you have to have a track record, you have to have a spectacular sales process, and you have to have numbers. You have to be able to say, my EPC on my campaigns are this, and then people look at them and say, okay, I'll promote that. So a lot of people sign up for those and never do anything because they can't get anybody to promote them. So just be aware of that. It's not like a no-brainer. It's not like you show up and all of a sudden they start selling your stuff. You have to work at it. There's tricks and and stuff. There's keys to that kingdom that you've got to have to open a door. As far as doing your own affiliate program and managing it yourself, there's programs that you can plug in, like WordPress plugins, to run an affiliate program in WordPress. I haven't used any of them, so I can't really speak directly or specifically about them, but I know they exist. The thing that I just loved about Kartra was the fact that everything is all just bundle packaged, where I didn't need to piecemeal a bunch of stuff together. It's all just integrated and runs smooth. But if you've already got like a CRM and a sales system, I would look to see what you can plug into that. Then you don't have to shift your whole business model up.
Yeah, exactly.
Because chances are they've thought that through and they've got a solution for you. And if not, you might look at what you're doing and you might wonder, what else am I missing? What else do they not have? Because if they didn't have that, then they're clearly not built for the internet marketing space. And it might not be, like, you might be on the wrong platform and it might be costing you. So some stuff to kind of think about.
And well, we went from Zoho to Salesforce to Freshdesk, and so if I move our CRM again, my team is going to kill me.
No, I get it. But they, like I said, they probably do have something for you built in. So I would look there first before you start looking at outside solutions.
Good. Thank you.
Absolutely. All right. It looks like we've got everybody wrapped up. One thing I do want to tell you guys, for a while now, everything has been kind of quiet on the hacker front until this week. And the hackers are just freaking coming out of the woodwork. I had probably 30 sites hacked in the last couple of days. And lucky for me, most of my customers, in fact, almost all my customers now, they took me up on the Malcare. And so it's a one-click clean, and it just cleans it up and puts you right back in business. The other cool thing about Malcare is it tells you what it cleaned. It tells you what files were infected and what it did to fix it. So for the handful that don't have Malcare, I've been able to give them that and say, here's how you can clean your site really easily. It's just like delete these files, replace these files, and you should be good to go. But just know that the hackers are on the rise right now. So I don't know how far they'll go. It seemed like the last time it was just all hell had broken loose for about 2 weeks, and then they let it go, and now they're back. So we got a reprieve, but the reprieves and that crap is never long enough for me. But anyway, if your site did get hacked, and I can give you the solution for it, or at least what we've fixed 99% of ours with, and just shoot me an email and I'll get you fixed up. But that's about.
What's the cost on that, John?
The Malcare is $99 a year for Malcare. It's a plugin. It's a WordPress plugin. And if your site gets hacked, you just click the clean button and they do it. It's really cool. If it's something really aggressive and advanced and the automatic cleaner can't do it, they manually go in and do it for you. They guarantee it. So it's really cool for a whole year, $99 for a year. So that's that one. But this hack is a really simple hack. It's just a matter of cleaning a couple of files. I had sent you like what to do. And on yours, if you want me to do it for you, just send me your WordPress login and I'll take care of it for you.
I'll do that. And I think that's more than worth $99 for a year to get taken care of. I must have missed that.
Yeah.
So
okay,
thank you.
It's called Malcare. So, all right. Well, anyway, that is it for this week. I'll let you guys go to it, and we will be on next week. We got the big air show next week, so that's going to be cool. Out over the water. Cool stuff. So, all right, guys, well, have a great week, and we will talk to you next week.